Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Coach Monken's weekly press conference at NOAC. As the Black Knights get set to take on Navy this Saturday at 3 o'clock on CBS and the Army Sports Network. Coach will open the press conference with his statement and then take questions from media members here at NOAC and then those joining us via teleconference. At this time, I'd like to introduce the head coach of the Black Knights, Jeff Monken.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is certainly a big week for everybody here at the Academy, and I know both academies. The rivalry is I think, the best in sports, and you can't help but feel the emotion and excitement as you get closer to the game. And our guys have been working real hard, and hopefully we're not working them so hard we're wearing them out. We've been very conscious of just how emotional this game is, and when there's a game that you care so much about winning, that those guys are practicing really hard. So we've tried to tailor the practices to give ourselves the best opportunity to be prepared, and as well as to be physically ready to go in the game, which is a huge part of it. They've got a great team at Navy, so well coached, and a very talented team. We watched them on film, and just the guys that they've got in their program, the job that they've done, getting guys that can make plays in every phase. Just very, very, very impressive job by their staff. So it's going to be an exciting game, I'm sure. The last three have been one-score games, and just felt like each year it's come down to having the opportunity to make a few more plays by either team, and they could have gone either way. Just like last year, they did a great job coming back and taking the lead, and if we don't make a play or two, and they do down the stretch, it's a different ball game. And I kind of felt that way the year before, exact same score, but the other team had the 21, so felt like, if we had a chance to make a couple more plays, or we did, we might have changed the game. But they did, and give them credit. So I assume it'll be a game like that. A lot of hard-fought battles inside. They've got a really good offensive line and defensive line. Really impressed with their guys up front, and we're just preparing ourselves for a 60-minute slugfest. So. I know there's a lot of people really excited about the game that represent both teams. So Saturday will tell the tale.
Go ahead, Rich.
Hey, Rich DeMarco, Army Sports Network. Coach, do you think about last year's game at all?
Sure. There's a picture of it out there as we walk into the team meeting room here, and yeah, I mean, it's a great memory for our program. There's a lot of games I think about, though, and games that we've won and games that we haven't, and I think that's just natural. But certainly last year's game doesn't have anything to do with this year's game. I heard Kenny say the same thing, and he's right. You don't get any advantage or gain any points because of what happened in the past. It's all going to be a matter of what these two teams do on Saturday and how they perform to decide who gets to take the trophy home.
How special is this game to you, and has it gotten more special over the past few years? How do you, when you think of this game, what goes through your mind?
Every one of these games that I've been a part of has been special, and that's I think it's the thing I enjoy the most about this game, that each year you go back into that stadium and you get prepared for the game, and the same feelings start to come back as you get closer to the game. And then when for me, when I've walked into that stadium, it's always felt the same. There's an electricity and an energy in that stadium that it's really indescribable. Maybe everybody else doesn't feel it, and maybe it's just the people that are on the field and have to compete that feel that energy differently than everybody else. But it's a great game. I know it's it's two teams that are going to battle it out as hard as they can on every snap for 60 minutes. It's fun to be a part of a game like that. And it's really a privilege for all of us that are involved in this game to be able to represent the people that we do by wearing our team colors. And I think that's the thing that makes this rivalry the best. Not just the game itself, but all those that are represented.
And last question, just do you feel, how is it felt? Is it any different being the team that has won last year's game instead of the team that is trying to end a streak or didn't win last year's game?
It doesn't change the preparation or our mindset or our feeling about the game. Certainly having won the game last year was a great accomplishment for the 2016 team. There's a lot of guys on this team that played in that game and were there on the team, dressed out or standing on the sideline or wherever they were, and we're excited about having a chance to break a streak that we had heard so much about, and that certainly helped our confidence in terms of just the belief that if we continue to do the things that we know are important, that we will give ourselves a chance to win and that we can win that game. There's no reason not to believe that, but it had been a long time. So I guess from that standpoint, maybe, but we know what a good team they have, and our guys recognize what a good team they have. We got guys that lined up against them last year, and they've got some guys that gave our guys some fits, trying to block them, trying to get off of blocks, and so it's going to take a great effort.
Thanks, Coach.
Joe from WKDT. Switching to the football for just a moment, Coach. Having scouted Navy by watching all 10 episodes of their TV show, they've gone through a lot of quarterbacks, and each quarterback seemed to do one thing better than the other, different. So how do you prepare? Are you preparing for the one Abby, or are you preparing for them all, or how are you going to deal with that?
I think all of those guys are good players. They're all capable of running their offense. They ask those guys to do similar things when they're in there, but I think there's some unique qualities that each one of them have. Aby's their guy, and sometimes he looks like a middle linebacker. He puts his shoulder down and knocks people over and knocks them on their backside when they're trying to tackle him. He weaves through us last year on that go-ahead touchdown in the second half, and was an elusive runner, a lot more than people think. Perry gets in there 10, and he's maybe the fastest guy on the field.
Yeah.
And they're different, but I think their desire is to get those guys to carry the ball, and because they're both good at it, and maybe just do it in different ways. But we do have to prepare for each one of those guys and what we think their strengths are, and we'll see. I have no idea who the starting quarterback is going to be, if they're going to play 2 or 3 or just one quarterback. So it really gives us a lot to have to prepare for sure.
Well, on the other side, of course, the Army quarterback is pretty settled. Does it feel to be going into his last game?
Well, he's got one more after this one, so we're fortunate we got him on our team. He's a good player. He's a tough runner, and he's a great leader for this team. He is very poised and very calm as a leader. It doesn't mean he doesn't get excited and isn't intense. He is, for sure, but nothing rattles the guy. He has a way of just keeping his head in the game, and what a great quality for a quarterback and for a leader of this team.
Sal?
Do you prepare for Perry as both a quarterback and a running back in this game? Just different ways to combat that?
I think we've got to know where he's aligned for sure. He's a weapon for them, and he's lined up in a bunch of different places. He's lined up obviously as a slot, as a quarterback, as a B-back, split out as a receiver and gun. He's run a reverse. He's thrown passes. He's lined up as one of the split backs in their gun formations. He just does a lot of things for them, and he's a good player, very productive, and fast. He's hard to catch. He's hard to tackle, and so we got to be conscious of where he's at.
Is he kind of their version of Cal?
He's different than Cal. He does more. He does more things than Kel does. Kel's a slot back. We line him up, in the slot formation, and when we've been in gun, we've been able to hand it to him. They've done those things with him as well. But when this kid plays, he's played full games as a quarterback, and so that adds an entirely different dimension than what we do with Kel Walker. So it makes it a lot more difficult to find him and to catch up to him. And one play he might be playing quarterback, and the next play he might be playing slot, and the next play lined up somewhere else. And they've done a really good job of utilizing his talents and abilities.
What do you think of the jerseys for this game for Army? And did you have any input into the jerseys?
I didn't have any input into the uniforms. I really think they're great uniforms. I know our kids are excited about wearing them. I think the players get excited when there's an alternate uniform. That's kind of a big deal in today's college football. What's fantastic to me is the way that Nike and our research team, Steph Menio and Ty Sedgley from our history department. Colonel Sedgley was very involved in each of the last 2 years' uniforms and the history behind them. They just did a great job, and to be able to find a way to build a uniform that really honors a particular unit is pretty special. So that to me is what's great about the uniforms. Not the way they look, and I think they look great. It's what they represent.
All right, we will open it up to those joining us via teleconference. Please state your name and organization and ask your question.
Yes, this is Charles Grievous from GoBlackKnights.com. Good afternoon, Coach. You mentioned in your opening statement relative to the emotional component of this game, there appears to be a different vibe from my perspective from the Army football fan base than in prior years, where there's not this expectation that the Black Knights hope to win, but yet now it's the Black Knights are going to win. So from a team standpoint and from a coaching standpoint, are you sensing that same type of vibe within the confines of the Army football program relative to the Army-Navy game this year?
I believe our team has had the right mindset and the confidence to win this game. Certainly last year, and we were able to find a way. The year before, we had put ourselves in position, and Navy made a bunch of plays and beat us. And had we made some plays when we had opportunities, perhaps it would have been different. But I don't think it had to do with a lack of confidence in that season. And they were having a great year with a terrific quarterback in Keenan Reynolds, and yet I felt our team believed that we were going to win the game, and we were really disappointed that we didn't. So I think that's healthy, and that's good for a football team to feel confident about their chances to win. And I know that Navy feels that way. That's something that's been built there for a long time, over many years, and now a couple decades. So it's going to be a game of two teams that believe that they're the team that's supposed to win. They're good enough to win. It's going to be a matter of execution, and that believing and feeling you're supposed to win is emotion, but it gives you the confidence to be able to do your job and to do it effectively. So hopefully we will, and we know we're going to get a great fight from the Navy team, and that's what makes this game so much fun. And what I said earlier is when the ball gets snapped, it's just a fist fight for 5 or 6 seconds, and they blow the whistle, and then we come back and do it again, and you do it all afternoon, and it's the competitive spirit of every guy out there, regardless of what color jersey he's wearing, is pretty incredible.
And my follow-up and final question, can you talk a little bit about the overall health of the team going into this game, and specifically slot-back Del Walker, who's one of the primary stakeholders of your offense? Is he 100% at this time?
He's not 100%. He practiced yesterday and will practice today. He hadn't practiced for a couple of weeks leading up to this week. So, but he does look good, and I think our training staff did a great job of getting him healthy again. He's played a lot of football for us, so hopefully he'll be prepared and ready to go for this weekend. Physically, I'm confident he will be. Just the mental part and the execution of his assignments is what he's going to have to kind of get back in the groove on, since he hasn't had a chance to take those live reps. Really, for the most part, other than that, we're pretty healthy. Let's see, we had anybody else that's out? I can't think of it.
I can't either.
And we're doing pretty. Jermaine Adams has been banged up a little bit, but we expect him to be. He ran some and took some reps yesterday, more than we thought he would, and I think he'll take most of the practice today. So it'd be good to have him back in as a veteran player. Everybody else is in pretty good shape. The usual suspects that we've kind of held on certain days to get them rest, Kurz and Woolfolk, but they're going to be ready for the game. So at this point in the season, we're very fortunate. We're as healthy as we could probably hope to be.
Great. Thank you very much.
Hey, Jeff.
Coach, quick.
This is Paul Marbury with USA Today. Jeff, how you doing?
Hi, Paul.
I asked you if you could explain any major difference, if any, do exist between what you guys are doing offensively and obviously what Coach Niemot and Navy are doing. Anything pop into your mind that separates you from what Navy's doing offensively?
I think from a base philosophy standpoint, it's the same offense. Just like their defense and our defense, from a base philosophy standpoint, it's a 3-4. It's the same defense. But there's things that both teams do that are unique. We do some things offensively that are unique to us, and they're personnel driven. And I know that they do some things different from what we do. Run plays that we don't run, maybe block things a little differently than we do. And I'm certain those are personnel based on who they want blocking and who they want carrying the ball, and it's a matter of finding the plays that we think are going to be most successful. So to find major differences, it'd be difficult for me to do that. But they got some really talented players, some good players, and I admire the way they find ways to get them the ball. I think Ivan's a terrific football coach and does a great job with the offense, and their staff does. And Kenny is, I know, deeply involved in that. And those two guys I know very well. I worked with them a long time. I've known them my whole coaching career, and they're both great coaches.
When you, at a week like this, obviously I don't think you need to preach it too much, but when you do face an opponent that, as you said, base-wise, performs the same way that you guys perform, does it ratchet up your mantra of, hey, let's stay consistent, let's be perfect in a sense, and realize that that might be the separator between us?
Oh, it's hard to be perfect.
Yeah.
The key is being able to execute our calls offensively, defensively, the special teams, and do the things that we do best effectively. We got to have some wrinkles. We know each other so well, and I know they'll have some wrinkles for us, as they always have. And it's hard to prepare for the things you don't know, but try to defend the things that they do best. Try to execute offensively with the things that we do best, and hope it's good enough. I really think that it's what it comes down to, is the execution of our assignments and fundamentals and who does it best. And you watch both of these teams play against each other these last 3 years, and this is just the only ones that I can say from experience here recently, is that the guys are playing really hard. The guys are very focused on doing their job and doing it well. There's an intensity. I don't mean physical, tough, trying to hit each other type of intensity, which is extremely high. I'm talking about a mental focus and intensity about trying to do things right. It's different from maybe any other game. There is such a great sense of pride in winning this game that guys are going to try to do everything right. And so when we are scheming against those guys, there's just only so much we can do. We can't change our defense or change our offense. We got to do what we do best and hope it's good enough. And I know that Kenny's preaching the same thing to his teams. So, like I said, Saturday we'll kick it off and hope what we do is good enough.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Coach Ken Kreitzer, Sons of the American Legion Radio. We're down at the National Football Foundation press conference this morning, and you were one of the 8 finalists for the Eddie Robinson Award for Coach of the Year. Any thought, I know it's an aside, but any thought about your program at Army and your body of work being compared to some great coaches around the country and Coach Robinson?
Well, that's a tremendous honor to be named along with so many outstanding coaches. I'm pretty sure they probably got the ballot wrong, and that's how I ended up on there. But some of the things that other coaches have done around the country this year have really been impressive. And when someone in the program is recognized, whether it's a player or a coach, it's because of what the team has done. And certainly if I was a finalist and people felt compelled to put me on that list, it's only because of what our players have done and our assistant coaches have done to build the program. So that's a source of pride for all of us. It's great that you're down there. I know that we send some folks from West Point down there every year, and in fact, one of my former players from Georgia Southern, who played for us during the Paul Johnson era, Adrian Peterson's being inducted this weekend. So I'm glad you're there. I hope you'll have a chance to talk to him.
Yes, we saw Adrian Peterson, and he spoke very well in his remarks at the press conference. One of the comments about one of the running backs, it might have been Marshall Faulk, was that everything starts with the center. And I think of Bryce Holland and what a great season he's had, and how much your offensive line is contributed to the success this year. How do you feel the offensive line is ready for the Navy game?
Our offensive line has done a really good job this year. The thing that I think everybody's noticed is that we've had pretty much the same offensive line the entire season. We've been able to stay healthy. These guys are veteran players. They're in good physical condition, and that happens as they grow and they mature. I think they become more capable of handling the bumps and bruises and the physical nature of the battles that go on down there. I mean, if you put an average person in on the offensive line or defensive line in a college football game, and they had to battle it out for 60 minutes in there, it would be a while before they were feeling like they were functioning like they did before the game started. I wouldn't want to do it. I wouldn't want to get in there. And we've got a tough group of guys up there. They care a lot about their team. They take a lot of pride in their job. And for Bryce in particular, that's one thing I remember Coach Johnson always saying about this offense. If you're going to be really good in this offense, you got to be good up the middle. You got to have a good center, a good quarterback, and a good B-back. And I think right now our guys are playing well up front and playing as a unit and allowing those guys behind them, whether it be the quarterback or the B-backs in particular, and certainly the slots as well, to be able to get a positive play started. And we haven't had a bunch of negative plays, and that's really made a big difference for us in keeping drives alive and turning the first down sticks.
Thank you, Coach.
Any other questions via teleconference? Go ahead, Joe.
A question for you, Matt. Are we going to have a press conference before the bowl game?
I will let you know.
Okay.
If we're going to.
And just in case we haven't. All right. So you play Navy. You guys come home.
You want us to have one, Joe?
Immediately your team, you don't, but your team starts final exams. You got final exams, bang. 5 days later, you got another football game. That's an awful lot of work coming up in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, it'll be a challenge. Obviously, our focus is on this game, and that's it. But we'll come back from the game on Sunday. We're going to practice on Wednesday and Thursday next week. We'll practice on Sunday next week. And then we'll practice Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday when we get down to Texas. So we're going to get 6 practices in preparation for the bowl game, which isn't a lot. The academy was good enough to move the final exam schedules, the T's, for those at the TEEs, term end exams. Taking me a while to figure that out myself, but
35 years, boss. I haven't.
Yeah. So we'll take a final exam on Friday night. Take one on Saturday morning, one on Sunday afternoon, one on Saturday morning, one on Saturday afternoon, one on Sunday afternoon, and then 2 on Monday, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. So our guys are going to be busy all the way through, and then we'll travel on Tuesday to go to Fort Worth. So it's these guys got a lot on their plate between now and then, but nothing more important than this Saturday.
True, but it's got to feel good to go to a bowl game, right? It's got to feel good when you got the word, when you got the team, and you're actually traveling, unlike your compatriots who are having their bowl game in their own stadium. That's no fun. You guys get to go, at least you get to travel and go somewhere.
It's fun to go to a bowl game no matter where it is. We could play it out here in the parking lot. I'd be glad to go to a bowl game. That's something that everybody gets a chance to play in postseason is proud of, and I'm proud of our guys for doing enough to this point that we've been able to earn an invitation, and thankful that the Armed Forces Bowl and our administration worked so hard together to secure a position for us, because there's some teams out there that are bowl eligible this year that aren't getting to go. So I feel very fortunate that we're one of those teams that's able to join the rest.
All right, thank you, everyone, and go Army.